biggest difference between Brandon Aiyuk and Deebo Samuel?
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot more than one distinction, right? There's a lot of ways that Aiyuk is the more natural receiver, right? He's smoother than Deebo. He's got longer arms than Deebo. He catches the ball. Actually, no, Deebo's pretty good at catching the ball away from his body. It's just that he can't go very far catching the ball away from his body. And there's ways they're similar too. They're both really good after the catch. They're both great athletes. I think the biggest difference, and this was something that one of the reasons why I thought Brandon Aiyuk was drafted 25th overall, though when you look at Brandon Ayuk's measurables, you would think he should go a little bit higher than that. It's that Brandon Aiyuk sometimes struggles to get off the ball. He struggles at the line of scrimmage sometimes. He's not the most explosive player at the line of scrimmage. The distinction with him and Deebo is that Deebo is probably the most explosive receiver at the line of scrimmage I've ever seen with the 49ers, to be totally honest with you. Maybe like Stevie Johnson, but Deebo is crazy explosive. His first step is ridiculous. And that's why you see Deebo being able to run by people with ease. And people are talking about Deebo running by a lot of people in camp. And that's why, even though you didn't see a lot of downfield production from Deebo in his first 2 years, I was very bullish on the fact that he could do it if put in a different situation, just because he has the physical traits to do it. He has the ability to just run by people because he's more explosive getting off the ball than Brandon Aiyuk and than anybody. And if you remember his press conference, and you and I talked about this for a brief moment after Deebo Samuel's first press conference, he talked about how the other receivers make fun of Brandon Aiyuk because he's a little bit slow getting off the ball. And, it's such a small thing because he's really saying that as a joke, but it's really important because a lot of people are looking at Brandon Aiyuk and thinking he's just going to ascend into one of these number one wide receivers, big time receivers, what DK Metcalf and DeAndre Hopkins are within this division. Well, one of the most important things to be a number one X receiver in the NFL, DeAndre Hopkins, DK Metcalf, is when Jalen Ramsey presses you, you have to be able to get off the ball against him. Or not Jalen Ramsey, even a legit starting corner. When Jason Verrett presses you, you have to be able to get off the ball consistently against him and win. And it was something we didn't really get to see Brandon Aiyuk do that much in his rookie season because they moved him around a lot and they used him in a variety of different ways. And so really the only big weakness of him in Arizona State, which you brought up the Cal game. I know there was a corner you thought was way better than actually was in the Cal game just because he had a really good game against Brandon Aiyuk at the line of scrimmage. So I think that's important, and I think it's good to see. And then the other thing is I just think Deebo's faster. I think Deebo is faster than Brandon Aiyuk. I think Brandon Aiyuk is really smooth. I think he's a great route runner. I think he's great athlete.
Strong.
Really, great athlete. Yeah. But I think the reason the Odell Beckham comparison doesn't work for me, even though he has a lot of Odell Beckham-like qualities, is he doesn't have that second gear that Odell Beckham has. Deebo has that second gear. When Deebo gets going, and he starts moving, it's goodbye. People aren't catching Deebo. And I've seen two people that I really respect, both you and Kyle Posey, actually both in different moments talk about and write how there's no way Deebo's a 4.45 guy because when you watch him, he looks 4.3 all day. And that to me, like you've seen a lot. I know you've seen a lot of really fast guys in your time covering the 49ers, like Ted Ginn, Raheem Mostert. And for you to say that about Deebo, that I'm obviously a big Deebo fan, but that's important to me as well.
It's always stood out to me since I've seen him on the field, like practice field. When I watched him at South Carolina, I didn't think he was that fast. I thought he had short legs. I was like, man, he's got a running back body. He's got the running back short legs. He doesn't have the high knee lift. He looks like he's got the little, but he's hella fast. I don't know how he's hella fast. He's super duper fast and explosive. The first step, got multiple gears. I'm not saying he's necessarily better than Brandon Aiyuk because Ayuk's wingspan and his smoothness will definitely help him. But Deebo is much better against press coverage than Aiyuk is right now.
He is. Yeah. Deebo is one of Deebo's best strengths actually as a receiver. If you're talking pure receiver, Deebo's ability to get off the ball and his releases at the line of scrimmage are very, very good. And
the last thing too,
it's not as good as Deebo's.
The last thing that I think is kind of intangible that I'm getting the sense of being there is that Deebo's a little more driven right now than Aiyuk. Not to say Aiyuk isn't, but Deebo's had that disappointing year, and it seems to, have that given him something to prove. That Aiyuk's had nothing but praise so far.
Right. Deebo had 3 injuries last year. He had the broken foot, hamstring, and Deebo's been written off as an injury-prone kind of, if he stays healthy, but he's always hurt. And Aiyuk had 3 injuries last year, core muscle injury before camp. I think it was hamstring in camp and then ankle to end the season.
That's
But
right.
everybody's very, very bullish on Aiyuk, as they should be. I just think you should be bullish on Deebo as well, because I think Deebo Samuel, big prediction time, Grant. Can I end with a prediction right here?
Mm-hmm.
I think Deebo Samuel will be in the MVP conversation of the NFL early in the season. Do you remember Percy Harvin? What he was doing before migraines? He was in the MVP conversation as an all-around player, especially if they let him return kicks. If they let Deebo Samuel return kicks, he will be in the MVP conversation this year.
And they just might. He's getting reps as a kick returner. I don't know if they'll make him the kick returner, but he's getting reps. They also asked Kyle Shanahan today, are they going to let Brandon Aiyuk return punts? It seems like he doesn't like rookie starting wide receivers returning punts because they need to learn the offense. But it sounded, he said, like, basically, hey, if he shows me that he's the best returner on the team and he knows the offense, then by all means.
Can we touch on that real quick?
Real quick, and then we got to go.
That seemed like the opposite to me, didn't it? Like the Cowboys let Dez Bryant return punts when he was a rookie just as another way to get him the ball and get him going. CeeDee Lamb returned punts similarly. It seemed Tyreek Hill, when he was still learning how to be a receiver, was just another way that he could impact the game. It seemed opposite to me. That I thought that was interesting that he had the outlook of, I'd rather have them learn the offense and not think about punt returning first, and then they can go be punt returners if they have to. That was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. I appreciate that Kyle Shanahan always explains his thought process. He shows his work. Loki Smoke, great name, says, would Jimmy go down as one of the most overrated quarterbacks? I mean, it depends on the next act of his career. If there isn't one, that he's a very rich guy, kind of in like the Sam Bradford vein. But he could go out somewhere else and win. He can stay here and win. No, he's not going to stay here. Let's not be crazy. Was there one more? I think there's one more. Hold on. Oh, this one just, thank you, suburban legend. But no, there is one more. Almost like T. Hill. No. That's our show for today. It's dinner time.
It's dinner time.
It's dinner time. Got burgers for dinner. I'm excited. I've been up since 5 a.m. I need to unplug. We could go for hours. I appreciate we got 1,100 people watching. Hell of a show. I got a day off on Thursday, and I'll be on Vish's channel, I think, at some point.
Yes.
There will be more. There will be more.
Yes, there will be more.